How many people do you know that are on a trauma recovery mission, recovering from some kind of deep life changing trauma? Maybe something that happened in their childhood, maybe something that happened during their adult life, but something that completely devastated them and brought them to the darkest place that a human can go. I think we all know somebody like that, and maybe you're one of those people. Let me ask you this: how many people do you know that have not experienced a traumatic event? That's probably pretty rare. I mean, once you get once you get out of your 20s, barring a childhood disaster, which is pretty common, unfortunately. But, you know, when somebody gets into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it's kind of hard to find somebody that hasn't experienced, deaths of friends or family members, divorces, the loss of finances, loss of homes. So what's your point, Mike? First of all, I just want to give a caveat and say I am in no way diminishing the terrible effects of a traumatic experience, nor the importance of coming to terms with those and healing. But what I wanted to talk about, and this is something I've seen really for as long as I can remember, is there seems to be a trend, and this trend is not new. This is going back some years, but there seems to be a trend where people appear to be literally addicted to recovering from some kind of trauma. You know, when I was younger, going to a therapist was something that you kept totally secret because there was some shame associated with it. And I'm happy that that's changed. But like all things that operate on a pendulum, too far one way is never good. And that's just about every subject you can think of. And recovering from a traumatic experience, in my mind, is no different. You want to be somewhere in the middle. If going to a therapist is useful, then go to a therapist. But I have up close and personal knowledge, one's a family member, of people, and this is not rare, who have been in therapy for years, multiple years, and there's no end in sight. It's just I probably should have been a therapist, because think of the money that you can make with clients that are never going to be healed. And one of the things that concerns me, and the reason I'm making this video, is there appears to be an addiction to being in a recovery state. And I'm certainly no psychologist, but I think I understand where it comes from. I've been through some unbelievable trauma, some of which I've shared on this channel and others. But I always caution those that I know personally to be careful and avoid falling into this trap of never ever ending treatment, or this never ending search to be better, in terms of your traumatic experience. And again, I'm not diminishing the effects of trauma. I am just going to throw it out there because that's how I am. Life is a traumatic experience. It just is. Look at how you come into this life. You're screaming, crying, kicking, you can't breathe, your lungs are full of fluid. Some aliens are sucking the fluid out of your lungs. There's blood everywhere. You're feeling all kinds of external feelings that you hadn't felt, that are completely opposite of the comfort of the womb that you just came out of. The mother is not having a great time during childbirth. Life begins, and in most cases ends, with a traumatic experience. And here's the news flash. It's all traumatic. It is just a series of traumatic events with little moments of peace and tranquility in between. All of us are one phone call or door knock away from another traumatic experience. Hey, guess who just died? Knock knock. Are you the widower, the widower Mike? What do you mean widower? Well, your wife just got wiped out in a car accident. This is this reality. And there's those extremes, and there's getting up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and stepping on your child's Lego. That's traumatic. You know, that, a little bit of humor, but actually that is pretty traumatic. You know, financial stress, job losses, friends that betray you, spouses who betray you. This is just the way life is, and I really think it's dangerous and, quite frankly, sad to see people who are never going to get off of the train of recovery. And if you really want to know how I feel about it, I don't think there really is recovery. I mean, there's a difference between wallowing and being stuck in the PTSD of a traumatic experience. You know, I've gone through it. I mean, after my divorce, I don't think I was really perfectly healed for probably about 8, 9, 10 years, you know, after a 20-year marriage. But I am healed. I'm completely healed. I'm completely over it. I have no feelings one way or the other about it. I mean, well, then why are you talking about it on YouTube all the time? Because I'm at a state now where I can offer help to other people who are stuck in the downward spiral of the never-ending search to feel good. I'm a big fan of feeling good, but I'm also a realist, and I understand that feeling bad is part of the necessity of life. If you don't feel bad, you're not going to appreciate feeling good. If you've never been freezing cold, you won't appreciate a nice warm jacket, you know, so forth and so on. And so while I encourage people that are in dire straits to get the necessary help, whether it's through counseling or whatever, do what you have to do, but please have an end game in sight. Don't get caught up into this thing, because what I believe it is, and you know, this is not to diminish or make fun of people. I think humans have an innate desire for attention. Why wouldn't we? We are like pack people. We're like tribe people. We want attention, and attention feels good. You know, in some cases, negative attention becomes a habit for people. You just look at the women who stay with abusive men. It becomes like a cycle. You know, negative attention is better than no attention is what some people, that's how they live their lives. But who doesn't want to be listened to? You know, even at, you know, 200 and something bucks an hour, to just sit there and have somebody either pretend or to be really interested in what your problems are and how you're feeling. We all want to be heard, and we all want to be understood. But we need to hear ourselves. We need to understand ourselves, and we need to understand what it is we're doing on this planet. And, you know, that's a 6-hour discussion where nobody's going to agree in terms of what our mission is on the planet. So I won't even crack that egg. But we should each have our own understanding of why we're here and what it is that we should accomplish, need to accomplish, and want to accomplish. And that doesn't necessarily mean becoming a millionaire. It might just mean living a nice, peaceful life with more happy days than sad days. That's my goal. There's a lot of beauty and a lot of happiness in life. And then you go to the ATM and you get blown away by some guy that wants your fucking ATM card. It's just reality. It happens all the time. You know, so just, you know, I just thought I'd make a little quick video because it came to my mind. I was watching another video and looking at just people complaining about how fucked up life is, you know. And I kept hearing this thing that, you know, I'm on my journey, my healing journey. That's what made me make this video. Is I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot on TikToks and YouTube, where people are on their journey of healing, their journey of this or that. Listen, if you were abused as a child, there is not much more that's fucked up than that. I know personally because I was abused as a child in every way that you can abuse a child. But you don't want to make your healing become who you are. That person who is never going to stop searching for a way to come to terms with something. You can do that, but I promise you, you are robbing yourself of of true happiness. You really are. You're trading a lifetime of real happiness for a future of little dopamine releases when somebody says, "Oh my God, that must have been terrible." I hear you. I hear you. Trust me, when people hear you, they also hear their own issues. They also hear their own needs because you have an attentive ear for this hour, but that attentive ear may be dealing with infidelity at home, dealing with the fact that they don't have enough money to pay their bills, dealing with the fact that a transmission just went out and they can't afford it, dealing with the fact that their husband's cheating on them, dealing with the fact that their love of their life just turned out to be an opposite sex type, whatever, LGBTQ. Not that that's bad, but you hear what I'm saying. People are people are bombarded with their own lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our own lives and our own situations. Somebody could look at this video and think, man, that dude really seems like he's got his shit together. I don't have my shit together. I do today, or I wouldn't be making this video. Catch me a week from now or a month ago, because it's ups and downs, ups and downs. And, we look at our Facebook posts and our TikTok posts and we think, my God, those people that, how do you get to be that together? None of us are together. We're all struggling, and I believe that's one of the reasons we're on this planet. We're all struggling to learn, and the only way you learn is to burn, meaning that you gotta touch a hot stove in order to avoid touching a hot stove. And you would never appreciate a good relationship that was based on truth and honor and integrity as much as if you had not ever been burned and screwed over in a prior relationship. I know that from experience too. Just watch my last video. So, this is just a friendly message from an older guy who pays attention. I watch and I listen, and I care. I care about humanity. I don't know who you are watching this, but I care about you, because the one thing I've learned in 62 years is that we are truly in this together, all of us. Doesn't matter where in the world you are, we are all just frail souls who put on the look of toughness, and we're capable, but inside all of us are just scared little souls that are doing the best we can. And I want you to do the best you can. And I'm telling you that if you are literally looking for some magical way to undo your past trauma, that's not going to ever happen. That shit happened to you, you're still breathing. That's a fucking victory. Heal from it, learn from it, make something good out of it. Go talk to other people that have had that experience or are in that experience and need some advice. You can be a tour guide through hell, because there's plenty of roads of hell coming in all of our lives. But don't make that who you are. I know somebody personally that literally makes a living from her trauma. Is what she does. It's the trauma is who she is. It defines her. If she didn't focus on her quote unquote trauma, she wouldn't have a job. And I find that disgusting, quite frankly, but I also find it pretty sad. And yeah, that's your pro tip for the day from your neighborhood old dude. Hope you guys are staying safe and well. Take care.